most formidable players at the net, but Agassi showing that if he has the target, whoever the opponent, he's going to go for it. And that he too also can move well to that forehand on the run. Agassi dropped the first set, but eventually lines up here on match point. The start of what was to be a fantastic year for Andre Agassi, a year in which he was to take Sampras' title for a while as world number one.
6-4.
Showed great dignity in defeat, and Brad Gilbert there delighted with his charge's progress.
The Norman Brooks Challenge Cup and a prize money check for $480,000 for Andre Agassi.
And Agassi showed great dignity in victory. A mature speech, and a welcome sight it was too. Move to March and Indian Wells in California, and the first Super 9 of the year. What a glorious venue it was too. And the final was stage 2 of the battle between Agassi and Sampras. Straight away, Agassi showing that his return was right up to peak form. Sampras' backhand has sometimes in defense been his most valuable shot, but in offense, not so. But it's the other side where Sampras can hurt you time after time. Agassi must have thought when he made the cross court that he was onto a winner. Not so. Unusual to see Agassi at the net, but he's more and more becoming the man when he's there. Sampras doing what he does best. Here's a quite brilliant shot from Agassi. And coming up, a major piece of luck for his opponent. Broken string, but a winner. Agassi not pleased. There's no doubt about the caliber of that kind of shot. Match point, ace. Sampras the winner, convincingly in straight sets. And honor now restored. Sampras the winner at Indian Wells. Thank you guys. Key Biscayne, Florida. Another gorgeous venue. The second Super 9 of the year. And it was part 3 of the Agassi-Sampras show. This time, the closest match of all. Sampras sharp down the line, but just watch this coming up. One of these shots of the year. But down the line from Agassi with full power and topspin. But look at that. And Agassi's reply. The most devastating return that perhaps the world's ever seen. Once again, Agassi's return, setting it up for a wonderful pass. And he was a master at the lob as well. Everything Sampras threw at him came back with interest. Just a quite phenomenal shot. And here, one of the rallies of the year. Agassi milking the applause. And well he might. Phenomenal consistency of power and depth. Agassi won the first set 6-3, lost the second 6-2, but here had match point in the third set tiebreak. So Agassi had restored his advantage over Sampras and was proving that he was, in the early summer, the man of 1995. We'll be back for more right after this. Roland Garros, how do you feel about grass?
Well, for right now, I don't think it sounds pretty good because the clay court season was obviously pretty disappointing, and I love playing on the grass, and I played well here last year and played well at Wimbledon the last couple years, and so grass is a whole new ball game for me, and I'm hoping to get some good matches under my belt before Wimbledon.
And his big preparation game at Queen's. Sampras, of course, Wimbledon champion, 93 and 94. Up here against Guy Forget. He started emphatically. Forget, who's come back from a horrific knee injury, had his big moments too. But in the end, the range of shots from Sampras and his sheer consistency wore the Frenchman down. Two tie-break sets, and here's match point.
Game 7 match, Sampras. 7-6.
So Sampras has set himself up ideally for his third successive Wimbledon. And what a Wimbledon it was to be. The match of the tournament had been between Andre Agassi and Boris Becker. It had put Becker into the final, but in the end, he was overwhelmed by Sampras playing at his very best. Three successive Wimbledon titles for Pete Sampras. Another break. And in a moment, we're back over to the States. Stay with us. Against Sampras. It was a match of the highest possible standard right the way through. Agassi starting like a greyhound out of the traps, but Sampras too was with him all the way. Sampras, in fact, took the first set 6-3. But Agassi dug in hard, and watch this for a shot coming up now. Agassi, as ever, going for the lines when he was in trouble. Won the second set 6-2, and here at 5-3 at match point for the title. Agassi's third win in his 4 matches against Pete Sampras, and both of them had the utmost respect for each other. Final of the US Open, but he was dead right. Sometimes he can play really well, and it's not enough. Just watch this. Agassi won the third set, but that was about it. And here was an emphatic win. Sampras, US champion once more. What a summer it had been for him.
That's for you, Timmy.
One more for his coach, Tim Gullickson. Not much romance, though, in the final between these two big men. Pete Sampras, a winner at Indian Wells, Queens, Wimbledon, and the US Open, looking for his 5th title.
15-0.
And he was in quite sensational form against Boris. Becker did have his moments, but not too many of them. Becker, of course, who'd won back in Marseille in February, had a pretty dry summer, but was now coming back to something like his best form. Becker moving up the gears, but he just couldn't cope with the speed of Sampras. Wonderful movement on the run. First set to Sampras on the tiebreak. The second set 6-4. And here at 5-4, poised for the title. His 5th title, and apart from his 2 Grand Slams at Wimbledon and at Flushing Meadow, perhaps his best performance. Becker playing really well. Sampras just too good. On then to the World Championships. Of course, there is a big addition, the Australian Open, which will be showing virtually in its entirety through the fortnight. In February, to America, to San Jose, back to the Middle East in Dubai, to Marseille, to Memphis, Antwerp, Milan, and Philadelphia. A packed month of tennis in February. In March, the start of the Super Nines in America, Indian Wells and Key Biscayne. Extensive coverage, live coverage here on Eurosport, as well as the tournaments earlier in the month in Rotterdam and Scottsdale. In April, onto the clay in Europe. After tournaments in Hong Kong, we go to Estoril, to Barcelona, off to Tokyo, and then back to Europe for the Super 9 in Monte Carlo. In May, we go to Prague, across the states to Atlanta. The Super Nines continue back-to-back, Hamburg and Rome, and then the World Team Cup in Dusseldorf. And of course, at the end of the month, the start of the second Grand Slam here on Eurosport, the French Open. The French Open continues through the early part of June, and then we have the build-up to Wimbledon with Queens, Rosmalen and Halle, all extensively here on Eurosport. In July, outdoors onto the clay up in the mountains in Gstaad, to Stuttgart, and to the glorious side of Kitzbühel. In August, the build-up to the US Open, the Super Nines in Cincinnati after the tournament in Los Angeles, New Haven, another Super Nine in Toronto, and then Long Island. In September, we go to Bournemouth in England for the clay court tournament there, the new one, to Bucharest for the massively expensive tournament in Bucharest, in Basel, and then to Lyon. In October, who's going to be the world #1? It should be sorted out towards the end of that month with the Super Nines in Stuttgart and Paris-Bercy, where traditionally Becker comes to form. And in November, the Kremlin Cup in Moscow, to Stockholm, the World Doubles and the Masters, the ATP World Championship, which this year switches from Frankfurt to Hanover. A fantastic year, and hope you can enjoy it with us as much as possible with us on Eurosport. For now, goodbye.